Hello, everyone. Welcome to 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. Over the next month, I'm going to take a deep dive into the role of human resources in fully operationalizing a best practices compliance program. Each day, I will pick up one topic with three key takeaways which you can utilize to improve, enhance, or upgrade your compliance program. This series of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. Culture at the bottom. One of the most important focuses of the DOJ's 2019 guidance was around culture. This means how far the culture of compliance has been driven down in an organization. The 2019 guidance posed the following under culture of compliance. How often and how does the company measure its culture of compliance? Does the company seek input from all levels of employees to determine whether they perceive senior and middle management's commitment to compliance? What steps has the company taken in response to its measurement of the compliance culture? These questions point to a chief compliance officer or a compliance practitioner demonstrating how a culture of compliance is being burned in the very fabric of an organization. While leadership at and from the top has long been considered by both the DOJ and compliance professionals as a key element to move compliance forward throughout an organization, the 2019 evaluation has also crystallized thinking around compliance culture throughout an organization, including the bottom. In an article in the Financial Times, I was struck by a quote from Shmulo Ben-Hur, a professor of IMD Business School, who said, "We teach the top 5%, but the majority of this work is carried out by the other 95%. My question is, does that other 95% have a culture of compliance?" The key for companies is that senior management must find ways to transmit leadership skills to people who do not have leader in their job description and probably will never attend a top-level leadership program. Ben-Hur's work has focused on getting managers to assign the right jobs to the right team that would motivate them to perform well. For the CO or compliance practitioner, this provides a clear path to help in operationalizing compliance by providing tools to persons far down the organization to put compliance into the operations of a business. A company should nurture such learning because by doing so, it will both teach practical skills around compliance, but also foster a strong internal network of compliance advocates who can move initiatives both up and down the organization. Moreover, as these individuals progress up the company ranks, they can take their compliance message with them at a new level, or at each new level. Building on the writings Professor Ben-Hur, my suggestion is to build a compliance center of excellence at your company. Bring in middle managers to focus on understanding not only their roles in compliance, but how to assign the right team members to establish a compliance initiative and motivate employees going forward. You can establish a corporate university to spread ideas about the company going forward. The theory is that being a leader is not just about being a vice president. It's about being able to push the company towards new ways of doing things and executing the things that need to be done. This can apply to a blue-collar worker on a shop floor or to a vice president. All of this turns on engagement to all levels of employees. This means you have to get out of the corporate headquarters and go visit employees throughout your organization. This can be on a training tour, a series of town hall meetings, or other mechanism for corporate compliance function to get out and meet the troops. Even better is to have a senior management representative with you on these meetings talking about the importance of compliance to the business operations of a company. This can have an incredibly powerful impact. Another key is not simply to train such middle management or frontline managers on compliance, but getting them to consider rollout, effectiveness, testing, and improvement. In other words, as Jay Martin, the former CEO at Baker Hughes, has often said, it is about execution. One way to help facilitate this is through exercises using incentives to make leadership insights stick and change workplace behavior. The concepts from entrepreneurship can assist in such learning by encouraging managers to think and act independently to more fully operationalize compliance. Finally, never forget mentoring as a manner to spread good compliance practices throughout a company if a more formal approach is not possible. The bottom line is that too often strategies to move a compliance program or even initiative come from the top of the organization and are simply pushed down. To fully operationalize compliance, you must have leadership in compliance further down the organization, which hopefully will become a part of the design process and can lead the implementation of compliance and thereby creating a culture of compliance and ethics throughout an organization. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, obviously tone at the top is critical. Moving it through middle management is important, but tone at the bottom can work to more fully operationalize your compliance. Never forget that the majority of your workers are at the bottom of your organization, and it is they who, in many ways, can more fully operationalize compliance on the front lines of your business organization. And that leads to point number 2, which is 95% of the work in a corporation is done at this bottom level. You certainly may have strategy, thinkers, planners at upper levels, but when you come to execution, that is where the rubber meets the road, and Jay Martin continually harps on that, and you should as well. Finally, use human resources to come up with a strategy to move compliance into the bottom for more complete operationalization. Go down and visit with your HR professional. Remember, they train often. It's one of the core functions of HR. So utilize HR to help it come or to help bring compliance to the very bottom level of your organization. HR has the skills, HR has the tools, HR has the strategy to move compliance down through the middle to the bottom of the organization and utilize those skills, talents, and tools for your compliance message going forward. It can only help, and it can only bring you closer to HR. And as you become closer and more integrated with HR in messaging of compliance, I think it will help your organization down the road in many ways. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the role of HR in a best practices and fully operationalized compliance program on 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. Thanks so much for listening.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.